I'd like to apologize for some technical audio issues on this episode, but I don't want to apologize so much that I won't still bring you the episode we recorded. So, enjoy. Welcome to Stitches in Time, the podcast discussing Doctor Who the way it was meant to be watched. In chronological order, one clip at a time, starting at the Big Bang and ending with the heat death of the universe. I'm Becca, the Matrix archivist, and I spent the last 12 years of my life meticulously editing the entire televised Doctor Who universe into chronological order.
And I'm Mandy, and I brought Susan back before it was cool. I did! I did it in, for Game of Rassilon, the podcast that you can listen to on any Apple podcast. Though if you want new episodes, you should follow them at Good Chaotic. Not sponsored, but I am married to one of them, so kind of sponsored.
Yeah, that's basically sponsored.
Vaguely sponsored, but the live show for Gallifrey 1, which was lost to time because the audio was bad and also I did a bad job. And then also their finale of their podcast, in which I, as a surprise, also did a bad job.
You said that like it was a surprise for them, like as a surprise.
Yeah, it was a little bit. I mean, I need to be clear, I in no way tried to mimic the voice of Susan. I just decided it's been enough time. She has a Florida accent now.
Perfect. Yes, and joining us once again is Jessica Reiner-Harris. She's a little bit further from her microphone because she's also currently wrangling a baby. No, it's fine.
This is my assistant, Cassandra. Not named for Cassandra from Doctor
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, exactly. At Galley last year, though, not last year, I guess, the year before when I was pregnant, and we said we were going to name her Cassie. They were like, oh, is she named for Cassandra? I was like, no. Why would I do that? No.
I mean, when did they determine that Cassandra had to be born?
I don't know.
I mean, it would have been close to 5 billion AD.
Okay.
You'd think.
So if anything, Cassandra's named for your baby.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
She agrees, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that your baby is someone who will live on in, like, you know, to be worthy of being a namesake in 5 billion years, I think says a lot about your parenting skills.
Well, and that's like what we were saying in a different episode of, like, you just know that the future will have been figured out, so she's clearly going to do something great.
Exactly.
Yeah. Though if we're talking about that episode, I don't know if that gives me a lot of confidence that in the future we figured it out. A bunch of rich people watching the Earth die. But that's not the episode we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Becca?
No, today we are talking about the season 1 finale. Not the series 1 finale, and not the season 1 finale.
Nah, they got America Disney money. We do seasons.
Yeah. The classic Who was also called Season, and so now it's all just it's all completely confusing. But yes, we were talking about The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death. Not the entire episodes, but just the bit where Susan Twist plays Sloogma, which is the name of the robot.
Cousin of Ligma.
Sloogma balls. No, I'm sorry. I don't know. I really didn't want to say that, but it just happened anyway.
I also want to correct before we get angry letters. It was not a Susan Twist. It is Susan Triad.
Right, yes. Susan, I was saying the actress Susan Twist.
Oh, yeah.
Playing the Susan Triad playing sloogma. You know, a sloogma, that creature that we know a lot about. There's so much Doctor Who lore about the sloogma.
And her blowing sand.
Yes. So that is,
Yeah.
so for our listeners, and frankly for people, if you even bother to watch the edit, it's a blink and you'll miss it thing, because it's a really short clip of her as the sloogma, and then it's another very short clip of her as the Sutekh zombie thing, blowing the dust of death, that's a lot of prosthetic work for 3 seconds of airtime or whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to have you in for a little bit, but you have to do a lot. She spent more time in a chair than she did on set, probably.
Probably.
But it's great because we just finished up the Zoom call of all the doctors, and what did they decide is the fix for their Zoom call? A lady blows sand in your face. A lady in desperate need of some tart-shaped tape to cover up those dark circles. I know how it is. I know how it goes.
I like watching it's very, yucky baby. It's very commercial, but I like watching the behind the scenes stuff for the current season or the just past season, whatever.
Yeah.
They talk all about how that lady was really nice, the actress, and how the makeup was so scary, and how they got to. It's like cheesy, but I enjoyed. This whole season is cheesy, but I love it.
Yeah, I like that about it too.
That's something that we kind of talked about a couple episodes back with the space and time kind of bit, and it being just like a comedy short that kind of has to lean into the ridiculousness of their plot contrivances. This one, the thing that really brought back with the new season of let's just make it silly again. Let's kind of we can get to some emotional stuff, but it will be ridiculous.
Yeah. I want to say that this is also a big milestone for the Stitches in Time podcast, because this is the first time we've ever had 2 guests on at the same time.
Right? You're welcome.
Yeah.
She's very chatty at whatever her word du jour is, and today it's mommy. So, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, no, it's solid. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a precursor to Mommy, you gotta let me be on this podcast.
Exactly. I'll take it. I'll take her calling me mommy, because pretty soon she's going to be a teenager calling me mother. Boy, mommy right now. She also just figured out how to do it. So
so she's got to show off a little bit.
Yeah.
We all know how to say ma. You're not special. I do remember the age at which, I don't know if either of you remember, the age at which I heard my friend from elementary school, I heard her whining to her mom and going, mommy, and I was like, that's so obnoxious. And then I stopped saying mom. I was 7. Apparently this broke my mother's heart, because she was like, oh, I'm my daughter doesn't, she calls me mom now. It's like, no, I just learned that it's really obnoxious. I didn't want to be like that.
That's so interesting. You know what's so weird? My brother and I never graduated to calling my parents mom and dad. We still say mommy and daddy as almost 40-year-old grown-ups.
Yeah. My sister's like that. My sister's 19, but she always, she calls her mama, mama still.
Yeah, I don't even think about it. It doesn't have the context of mommy to me. It's just her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we never did mom and dad. I think it was just their names. I don't know. I did call her mother when I was mad as a teenager, though. Anyway, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people had issues with The Legend of Ruby Sunday as an episode, or 2 episodes. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, you do have to be aware of
Sutekh, yes.
You have to be aware, understand what that is. And if you don't, it's still fine, but like it doesn't have really as much of a punch.
Yeah, I was definitely a
Sutekh after I watched that episode and laughed my ass off. The like dog in the mirror guy, I was like, okay.
I was definitely a person who did not know who Sutekh was at all. And when that happened, because I was watching it with a bunch of people, all of whom would know that information, and I just watched as all of them made a face, and was like, well, clearly this is something. And that's kind of the thing that you have to do with Doctor Who, is if you don't know, you see if the other people are making a face, and it's like, well, I guess that's something. And sometimes they don't make a face, and they're like, oh, actually, that was nothing. They made this up for the first time. The wibbly lever, that's new.
Exactly. I don't know. It was such a different look for Sutekh. And I saw this a little bit of the behind the scenes of like, yeah, we wanted to update the look. And then it's like, well, yeah, if you look at the Tom Baker episode, of course you wanted to update the look. That mask looks ridiculous.
Of course, yeah. Party City dog mask. Yeah, I think so. Hey. You think so too? Yeah.
As things go, you really can't beat what we have seen the Master do in the weird melty face racist guy. So that's kind of the bar that I have so far in horrible
in terms of
costume
horrible
mask
masks.
Things.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
In a couple minutes, I might bring her up to Daddy.
That's okay.
I think you're in a mood. Yeah. She's got a lot to say. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, you're raising a very passionate Doctor Who fan. Like, you have to expect that she's going to be very talkative on the podcast.
Sleepy bear. Anyway. But yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I get confused about the lore and all that stuff. And like I said, Matt explained to me, like, oh, Sutekh is a reference to an old thing. And then showed it to me after we watched it, and it was so funny. But yeah, I really enjoyed this last series. Me too, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird choice because I think, like, I got the sense that, like, okay, starting with the new Doctor, and we're on Disney, and we're calling it season 1, and we're just... because it's like, let's bring all the fans in. And then I thought it was a really weird choice to be like, what we're going to do for the series finale is bring back beloved among fans, but like pretty obscure because only has appeared in one other episode.
I kind of like that in a way of boiling the frog. Like, it is... You have an understanding, as opposed to when this show was previously rebooted in the early 2000s, in which case, like, yeah, you have the internet, you are able to search things up, but it's not as easily accessible as it is now.
That's
Whereas
true.
I think now people know that Doctor Who has a rich history and like has a lot of lore. You can make that reference of stuff. It's honestly like, if you don't know, which I did not know going into it, it's just a vaguely bad guy. But I know that it's a vaguely bad guy that had been bad before. And so if I have the interest in going back and seeing what happened with that bad guy before, that's to me, that's the way that you get someone to do that, rather than... Granted, my way into classic Doctor Who, I've watched a lot of smatterings of things, and now I'm watching things in the correct order through the Stitches in Time edit.
Of course.
But before that, it's just kind of been random stuff, and that's because I have a partner who is very much into Doctor Who, but also knows me and knows what I like, and what I like is ridiculous stuff. So they'll show me like the 5 Doctors because they know that that's going to be absolutely my shit, and things like that. And so this seems like the kind of way of, rather than when I first started getting into Doctor Who, they would just be like, oh, you can start anywhere, but they didn't actually tell you where to start. So then I would try to start with whatever the first thing on Netflix was, and it's impenetrable. It is totally impenetrable trying to do it that way. You should absolutely not do it that way. But this seems like a more interesting thing, and I desperately wish that Disney Plus had classic Doctor Who. And specifically, what I would want them to do is, rather than just putting it up like here's season by season, they should split it up into here's the serials and have it as stories. Because then what you would do is the same way that whenever Disney's posting their Marvel shows, and like at the end of an episode of WandaVision, when they've had like a great big discovery, it's like, oh, here's a reference to Ultron where you can see that Wanda's brother died if you forgot that happened. Like it would do that at the end of the episode. And this would be the perfect place where you watch the end of that. They have announced Sutekh, and it's like, you might also want to watch the bit where we had Sutekh in it.
And that'd be a really smart way to get everyone on the same page.
You know what'd be great is if they like would release those and then like maybe put a bit at the beginning and a bit at the end with like current actors, and like have them like sort of appear on this remembered TARDIS and be like, remember that time that we had this adventure? And like you could package a whole bunch of Doctor Who stories that way, I think.
So that invites the question, which comes first in the Stitches in Time edit, Sutekh or people remembering Sutekh?
That's fair. I'm going to take a pause and bring this baby to Dad.
Great.
You don't have to pause.
While you look up Becca for my answer. I mean, is there a Tales of the TARDIS with the Sutekh ones?
There's a they did a Tales of the TARDIS, Pyramids of Mars Tales of the TARDIS with Shooty and Millie. And it looks like it sort of takes place during Empire of Death sometime, because they're very pessimistic about what's going to happen. They clearly have not like fought him or anything. It's just sort of while they're traveling, I think, and like trying to figure out a solution, basically.
Mm-hmm.
While you were out, I was consulting my spreadsheet to answer Mandy's question. And now I have the answer. Sutekh happens before people are remembering him. It's okay. Tales of the TARDIS happens in the distant future because the random number generator threw me a bone on that one.
So it's not an Adric situation.
No, it is not an Adric situation.
I mean, it's kind of an Adric situation, but with more time to process, not a week after he dies, presumably. Just be like, yeah, there's nothing we could do about that.
I really love how much this podcast is just like creating all of this lore behind just Stitches in Time, and then like completely inaccessible to our guests who have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I have a new one of like, I have to create my own theories. Now, we already know, we have previously established that we have the Master and Yaz are kind of out doing stuff. And then we also have Perry and the Doctor also separately doing stuff, including we have also already seen their malicious intent of they are forcing people into the remembered TARDIS, which like does imply that they might have something to do with this.
Yes.
Man. Wibbly wobbly, etc.
Wibbly wobbly, but time is just a straight line that goes from beginning to end with no hopping back and forth between.
Exactly. There's no timey wimey in this podcast.
Damn straight.
Look, from what Perry was telling me, she is a warrior queen, and this I presume that this is her conquering.
Sure, let's go with that.
Version of conquering is blowing sand in one person's face, and we'll have to see what happens next.
Yeah. I do also like that, like, there's already enough of a mystery about, like, who is this woman that we keep seeing on all of our travels?
Yeah.
And then they got to the season finale and it was like, you know what? It's not enough, actually. We need more. We need 2 more random alien Susans.
Alien Susans, yep.
Yeah. To just...
That kind of makes me think, and I know that you were talking about like the makeup department and the number of like makeup stuff they had. Did they plan something else for it? And then that ended up not working out, but they had done the makeup test for it already. It's like, well, we have the makeup and we spent so much time making this. Can we just put her in it?
I would really like that if that happened, but like not for an episode we haven't seen. If they were just like, okay, so this is what we're thinking for the hiker from 73 yards. And it's like, why does she have a bionic eye? She's just supposed to be a person. She's just supposed to be a human woman. And like,
Look, I came up with this.
She had a really bad hike.
I like this a lot.
Yeah. I'm just still, I can't get over that it's literally a 2-second clip.
Yeah.
Like this time frame. Like how you figured out, like, was this a generated one? A number generated?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, like, how? Okay.
Yeah. Generally, unless they say, oh, I'm here in this time, or if there's like a dinosaur somewhere, though we're out of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are extinct. I've heard that we're going to keep getting dinosaurs, but they are apocryphal.
Yes, for the amount of dinosaurs we've talked about, we haven't actually seen that many dinosaurs.
We saw one with, and it was with Ruby. And that was when she turned into a lizard. And then Adric was like, nah, gotta kill them all.
Just for the heck of it, just so you see how far in depth the fandom goes, I'm going to read the entire entry on the TARDIS fandom site for the planet Sloog until we get bored, and then we can move on. But I
got really concerned that you were about to say, I'm going to read for you the entire lore that Mandy has had for Stitches in Time. And you're like,
no.
Who's recorded this?
No, that's up to somebody else to create that wiki.
I gotta get bet on that brand of autism so I can get that.
Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Buckle in. Sloog. Sloog was a planet. It was populated by the sloogma. The 15th Doctor visited the planet where he encountered Susan Triad appearing as a sloogma. End of page. That's the entire...
You thought we were gonna get bored. At what point? It was like, oh, Mandy's been watching a lot of TikTok. She's not going to be able to get more than 4 seconds of this.
I tricked you. I did the old swapperoo on you. Sorry. I'll keep going. For the sloogma, the species, sloogmas were robotic beings from the planet Sloog. One individual with a metal face who was a sloogma was recognized by the Doctor for her similar appearance to another woman. Another woman, by the way, another woman is a hyperlink. To Susan Triad. Woman.
I mean, is this the Doctor Who that they have pages for penis? And for a while there was a lot of drama because they did have a page for the N-word. Someone took down the page and then another person kept bringing it back.
I did not know about any of this. That's wild. I mean, so I know that this was something that I think Riley told me about, which is that like the Star Wars one, the Wikipedia, has entries for like colors. Like colors were things that were perceived by light, and it's just like, you really have to. No, we know what colors are. We don't have to have a wiki entry.
Have to be thorough.
Yeah. Green. What's green? Did explain that to me. Well, green is a color, and it's like Yoda. It's that color. Like,
color of Yoda. That's the definition of green.
Yeah. Honestly, I would love if that's just how we started talking about the world in which we live.
Yeah.
Red, which is not the
That's
color
the
of
prism.
Yoda.
Everything is in relation to the color of Yoda.
Yeah. But what's red?
Or it's not something that Yoda would want.
Right. It's red is the color of Count Dooku's lightsaber, as famously shown in the lightsaber battle between him and Yoda.
Exactly.
Well, I obviously don't have a lot more to say about this episode.
I have been working so hard to try to figure out a sloogma joke, and I can't. It's just sloogma balls.
Yeah. Which I will remind our listeners is nothing. That's not anything.
No. Can society make slooging something so that joke works?
Yeah.
I really need us. If I can get any teens to get caught up in like a new like sexual proclivity, can it be slooging?
Slooging.
I don't care what it is. I hope that it's something that doesn't result in death or bodily injury, but
Right.
just call it slooging.
Call it slooging.
For me.
And then we
please.
will go back and like re-record jokes to reinsert into this recording of the podcast.
Yeah.
And then sloogma balls will be a phrase that's like everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, preferably if it's just something with balls. What's something that the teens can do with balls?
Teens, get on this, brainstorm, and get back to us. Now, I know that like it takes a while for a word to sort of penetrate the collective psyche of a generation. So it may be the case that we might get, actually, instead of getting Jessica on, we might get Cassandra on to record some jokes about slooging.
God.
I'm Gretchen Wienering this. I'm making Sloog happen.
Jessica,
I like Gretchen Wienering being verb.
I like that. Wait, let's make Gretchen Wienering happen.
A thing.
I already did. That is the confidence that I'm going into this, that I can make Sloog happen.
Great. Well, I can't wait to add that to the complex lexicon of Stitches in Time.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be talking about the teens and what they do with balls, but I'm mostly just thinking of like the local news having to do like their little thing and be like, and coming at 10 p.m. slooging. Are your children doing it?
Slooging.
Yeah.
What parents should know?
Yes. So, Jessica, don't bring your baby up to be a slooger.
I'm going to do my best. I'm hoping. She will not know what that means.
Amazing.
For a long time.
Good.
But because you are a protective parent and not because it's not wildly popular.
Right.
Of course, yeah.
She knows what it is and has heard it, but is afraid to ask. So when somebody else says it, she just politely laughs along.
I mean, I guess her friends might be slooging.
Mm-hmm.
And if like, when she's a teenager. And I'll be open with her about what slooging is. I'm not gonna like
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and be like, we all get it. I was on a podcast where we invented slooging.
Look, you may not think your mom is.
I was 39.
Yeah. You may not think your mom's cool, but
I just want you to be safe, and that's why you need to wear this infinity scarf. Infinity scarves protect against slooging.
I hope
they came to discover.
Is just like, like blowing someone a kiss or something. I hope slooging is like the most G-rated.
Yeah. Which honestly makes sloogma balls so much better.
Just blow a little kiss to my balls.
So romantic.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kind of into that. The balls don't get enough appreciation. They're usually the butt of a joke. And so the idea of like, oh, I'm just going to fondly blow a kiss.
It's so demure.
So mindful.
Very.
Oh, I didn't even. And then I see, I'm young and hip. I stumbled into a slang thing from TikTok.
There you go. The slang thing from the TikTok.
A TikTok, yeah.
I like putting the in.
Oh, me too.
space.
It automatically ages
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Jessica, thank you for joining us again. It's such a pleasure to have you on.
Cassie had a great time too.
Good. I'm glad. We had a great time listening to her. Her words of wisdom, which are
Becca, if you want to join me to the side, Jessica, if you can hold on for a moment, I think we should just have the baby on next time.
Yeah,
we should the baby really did.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I don't like, Jessica's
great.
great.
Guys, I had so much fun.
But the baby was really doing the work. No, we loved having you on.
Yeah, it was great. It was lovely. Yes, please continue following Jessica at the handle at Google. She's verified on all platforms.
At Ask Jeeves.
Oh yeah, Alta Vista.
Bing it.
Mm-hmm. Bing it, baby. Sloog it.
Yeah. Blow a little kiss at Jessica Reiner-Harris.
All right. That's I don't have a natural outro for this, but I just think it needs to stop.
What is a better, more natural outro than I think it just needs to stop?
Thanks for listening to Stitches in Time. Music by Becca, the Matrix Archivist. Art by Mandy Ukendo. Logo by Ben Patton. Find us on the web at www.stitchesintie.me. Stitches in Time, but with a dot in the middle of the word time. Oh, hell yeah. I like that, Mandy. Is it okay if I swear in front of your baby? We're allowed to swear on the podcast, but I wasn't sure if that was okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Great. Then this episode is going to be ribbled.
I mean, I've managed not to talk about Castrovalva, and I will do my best to continue not talking about Castrovalva while there's a baby here.
I don't know what it is, but she's too little to understand any of it.
Great.
Currently putting buckets in other buckets, so I think we're okay.
Perfect.
Metal eyes. Dead.
Okay. I gotta say, this is unrelated to anything, but how the hell do single mothers not have $1 billion handed to them along with a spa subscription? That's not the right word. I have a very loving, attentive partner who I can say, take your child. How I feel like I just want to, single mothers deserve everything. Anyway, I don't know how they do it. Because I'm exhausted and I have someone. How do they do that? They deserve an award.
I agree.
Yeah. The answer is because America doesn't care about people.
That is the answer.
Oh,
the answer as to why.
Oh, absolutely. After I gave birth, I was like, everyone pretends this is normal. Everyone who gives birth deserves $1 billion. That was not okay. The fact that it's normalized to just be like, oh yeah, okay, bye, have fun being a mom after that. I looked up in the midst of my postpartum crazy. I looked up moving to Sweden. I looked up moving to Finland. I looked at basically anywhere Nordic because the way that they treat parents, not just mothers, they is so much more humane than America. America, you churn them out and you push them and then on your own, and it's bonkers. It is bonkers. Anyway, that's not what this podcast is about.
It is. I mean, it sort of is.
I mean, this podcast definitely is about let's go on a tangent to try to stretch out these 4 seconds of content that we have.
Yeah,